Marksman Hunter is one of the most fun and one of the most powerful classes in the entirety of World of Warcraft Classic, especially Season of Discovery and especially Phase 1, now that we have some new abilities. But you might be wondering, what is the rotation? What gear should you go for? When is a good time to switch away from BM? And what makes the difference between you actually being able to do good damage? Well, today I'm going to break down everything you need to know as a Marksman Hunter. This will be your ultimate Marksman Hunter guide for Season of Discovery. And as a brief reference, my stream wanted me to try this out after the changes that happened to BM yesterday, and I have a pretty bad weapon for this, but I was still able to get the 100 parts on one of the fights in the raid and all 99s in the raid, just not beating some of my other parses. The first question everyone has is usually, when can I go Marksman? When can I swap over from BM to Marksman? Do I need something special? Well, there's a few little caveats to that. Do you have the epic crossbow? If you do, then you absolutely can go Marksman and you will absolutely blast. But even if you have a decently strong weapon or some decently good gear, you absolutely can swap over to Marksman already and be ready to top the meters. And I would say the biggest caveat, the biggest time to go Marksman is when you know you will have quick kill times. That's because Marksman is ridiculously mana intensive and you can do insane amounts of damage in short bursts, but you will eventually run out of mana if you are doing your full DPS rotation, which we'll get into later. So if you're not in a pug, like if you're in a guild group, I would highly suggest going Marksman. It is so much more fun and you can do insane amounts of damage. So the specialization you're going to want to go is always 5 points into efficiency. This will reduce the cost of all of your shots and stings, helping you out with all of those mana issues I just mentioned. Then 5 points into lethal shots, giving you an extra 5% crit, and 1 point into aim shot. This will affect your rotation, and now aim shot is here in your rotation. Then we can go 5 points into improved aspect of the hawk. This is very good and it's useful because of the changes that happen to aspect of the lion. Now, as for runes, if you are the only hunter in your raid, you need to grab aspect of the lion. It's not even called that anymore, but you need to get this. If you are not the only hunter in your raid, then you will absolutely want to go with master marksman. If you have another hunter doing aspect of the lion, it'll be so nice to have 5% more crit, but on top of that, 25% mana reduction to all of your major abilities will help you do so much more damage. So if you can, ideally you're running master marksman. In your glove slot, we are going to use chimera shot. Explosive shot is really nice to have on an extra pair of gloves. You can watch me on the right side. If I switch over to my other pair of gloves, now I can use explosive shot on trash. Then I just go back to my main gloves right now, and now I have chimera shot again. So on trash, you can use explosive shot for AoE, but for all boss encounters, we will be using chimera shot. As for your leg slot, this is where we kind of don't have anything that's too insane. The best one to go with is going to be sniper training. This requires you to place your character in a solid spot before you actually start the boss encounter, and then try to stand still for as long as possible, because the longer you stand still, it will give you 10% increased critical strike chances. Sniper training is really strong, and it's especially strong in cleave encounters, but if you position poorly, you'll have to move and you'll literally get no use out of this. So just try to always be positioned well to get the most uptime out of sniper training. And you might be curious about what pet you should use in the actual marksman spec. And you can see a raptor right there, and you can see that I have a cat. Coin craptor. Pretty much you are either running a cat or a raptor. I prefer to get a cat with 2.0 weapon speed, which I can check if I open up my pet tab and scroll over. I have a cat that hits very, very hard, and this cat is from Ashenvale if you go up here and do the little figurine farm. This is the ghost kitty, but you can also get a raptor because you can teach both of them to use both claw and bite. Bite has a 10-second cooldown. You want rank 4, and claw has no cooldown, also rank 4. If you want a full breakdown on hunter pets, I did release a guide yesterday, and that is still accurate. But you are going to use both of these pets, or either of these pets, instead of using something like a scorpion right now, or instead of using a wind serpent if you're playing marksman. This is what your setup will be. And from there, let's look at your rotation. As an extra note, you might not know this, but guys, guys, you can actually use scrolls on your pet to increase their damage. So if you have better scrolls of strength and agility 2, make sure you use them on your pet always. It will increase your pet's damage. Every hunter should do this if you're a BM hunter or even a marksman hunter, obviously. So for hunters, your rotation, what does it look like? Your opener is always to try to get in a good position so you have sniper training buff up, and then you are going to open with aim shot. That's right, opening with aim shot as the tank pulls the boss allows you to then hit with a serpent sting, followed directly by a chimera shot, and then followed again by a multi shot. Now, there's a few things that is a little bit confusing here. You're always going to want to do aim shot, chimera shot, and multi-shot off of cooldown. But one of the big mistakes you might make is called clipping. What is clipping? Well, clipping is essentially when your character starts to do a cast or a shot. You'll watch my shot timer. If I'm about to start casting the shot again, if right before I started casting that auto shot, I actually instead casted an aim shot, it would cancel the entire cast of that auto shot. An aim shot is a 3-second cast, so no matter what, when you're using aim shot, unless you have over a 3-second weapon swing bow or crossbow, you will end up clipping a little bit, but the best way to use aim shot is always right after an auto shot goes out. Let me send my pet towards this mob right here, and you will see I will use an auto shot and then the aim shot. So whenever you're actually fighting, you will use an auto shot and then start casting the aim shot. Now, if you're using an ability like chimera shot, you don't need to worry about that. But the good thing about chimera shot is that it will refresh the serpent sting that you have up forever. Basically, it's nice to get a serpent sting up on bosses if they're gonna live long enough, and just keep them up pretty much forever by using chimera shot over and over again. And because we are using our entire toolkit, this will be extremely mana intensive, meaning that if there's only a single target boss and you are low on mana, you will actually stop using things like multi-shot, because multi-shot costs 90 mana. Instead, chimera shot costs 66 and aim shot costs 68, and both of these hit really hard. So you would prefer to only use aim shot and chimera shot if you are low on mana, and if you're very low on mana, you're literally only using chimera shot when you can to keep up that serpent sting. This is where you are going to be using a mana potion as well as a minor recombobulator to try to have enough mana to kill the bosses. Now you might be wondering, when can I melee weave? If I wanted to be melee weaving, when can I do that? Essentially what you would do is switch your rune from sniper chaining to flanking strike, and then whenever you move in, you can have a macro that will hit with raptor strike, then flanking strike. If you have it like this, it can hit them both right after each other, and it can basically reset that raptor strike for your next melee weave. It'll just be off CD perfectly. But what you'll do is just use an auto shot, then run in and do that and run back out. Use another auto shot first before you start casting anything else, because you want to start casting that auto shot. So let's say I had aim shot off of cooldown. Let me just show you. I would do an auto shot, move in, melee. I'm not doing it because I don't want to kill it. And instead of instantly casting aim shot, I want to cast another auto shot first and then the aim shot. If not, you are fully missing out on that auto shot, and you're missing out on the next 3 seconds of auto shots because of that aim shot. So always make sure you cast auto shot next, which my auto shot just looks like this if you want my auto shot macro. And if you follow this guide, you absolutely will be pumping. You will destroy the meters, and it gets even stronger if you have a stronger group. This is the spec that will have the highest DPS potential out of all of these specs, especially as kill times get lower. So it will be stronger than playing Beast Mastery, but it requires gear, a good group, and definitely mana potions and minor recombobulators. Of course, guys, if you like this guide and want me to do this with some of the other classes, or want to stay up to date on everything Season of Mastery, or just show support to the channel because we're on our way to 100,000 subs on YouTube, then make sure to subscribe and comment if you want to know more about any of the other specs, and come check me out over on Twitch. And shout out to all of the YouTube members. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you all on the next one.